What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Erica Russo show. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I am beyond excited that the universe led you here today. And if you are an OG, you continue to come back, you continue to press play, you continue to lean in to your own intuition, hug your inner child, do the work, be an eternal student. I love you. Thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for your continued support. It truly does mean the world to me. And if this podcast is helping you, if it's giving you clarity, if it's giving you aha moments, I would be eternally grateful if you can head on over to iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. Those reviews allow this podcast to get to the ears that need to hear it. And now, more than ever, I think that we can all agree the world is pretty chaotic right now, and conversations like these can help a lot more people. With that being said, make sure you take a screenshot of that review and send it to me on Instagram at Erica W. Russo, and I would love to send you a free gift for supporting this podcast. Now that that is all said and done, you guys, I manifested my Audi. I'm still kind of in shock about it because I've had Audis and Range Rovers on my vision boards forever. Okay, forever. And I knew it was coming, but I didn't know it was going to show up now. You know what I mean? Like I felt like it might go down in like a couple months from now, but it showed up. It showed up, and I need to tell you guys this story. Okay, so I started kind of looking around, and I found a 2021 Audi Q5. Okay, so if you know anything about Audi, you have the Q3 and the Q5. Q5s are a little bit bigger, they're a little bit nicer, they're just a more upgraded version. And I found this particular one, and it was at a local dealership, and it was this really nice like royal blue color. And what intrigued me was the interior. I've never seen this interior, and it was brown and black, and it was so classy, so cute. I just was obsessed with this particular interior, and I was looking at a couple of other cars, and none of it had this particular interior. I couldn't find any other car. So I did an inquiry about it, and um, the dealership started calling, and I just kind of told them, I was like, listen, I just wanted to, check it out. I wanted to see the monthly payments and everything like that. And I will reach out to you guys when I'm ready to. Okay. And they were like, okay, no problem. We will reach back out in like 6 weeks if we don't hear from you. I'm like, that's fine. So I go about my life, whatever. And, my Hyundai Santa Fe, first and foremost, I am going to state this here and now. I fucking hate Hyundais. I hate Hyundais. First and foremost, my 2014 Hyundai Santa Fe had the worst blind spots. Okay, the worst blind spots. And once you get over 100,000 miles, it's just problem after problem after problem. And then my mom drove, I think it was either a Tucson or a Santa Fe. And like her car, which was a little younger than my car with less miles and everything, she was having freaking issues. And I just don't like Hondas. And you will never ever see me owning or leasing a Hyundai ever again. And I'm going to like sign, seal, and deliver that. Okay. So anyway, with that being said, I tell them I will reach back out if, when I'm ready and everything like that. So I go about my day. Now, like, what was it? Last week. It was literally last week. It was on a Monday. I drove on Friday the Friday before that Monday, I drove to Hartford, Connecticut for a photo shoot, a new rebrand photo shoot, which actually you can see in the podcast cover. And when I was driving home, it was raining, and my car, my Hyundai at the time, started acting up. And it was really weird. It felt like I was gliding on the highway in the rain. It was very scary. I called in Archangel Michael, all of that stuff. I get home and I shit you not, my front tire is completely bald. Completely bald. I'm like, what the hell? Now, that Monday, we drop it at a Mavis. And I obviously know I need two front tires, I need an alignment, and then, a bunch of other bullshit always adds up, right? So I have to end up paying like $1,500 to get the Hyundai like drivable. And 6 weeks prior to that, I had to get a new belt and I also had to get something else done. So within like 6 weeks time, I already dropped like over $2,000 in this Hyundai, which I hate. So I'm like already like frustrated. I'm already frustrated, but I didn't have a car payment. So I was like, you drive it until you don't. So anyway, we me and Tony drop off the car and then we go out to lunch or breakfast. And I'm like, let's just go. And it's on the same street as this dealership. So I'm like, why don't we just like show up? I just want to see what these Audis look like. I just want to see if they still have that car in stock because I want to show you the interior. And we show up to this dealership, and unfortunately, the car that I inquired about is already sold. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I test drive a couple cars. I test drive a Q3. I like it. Audis drive really, really nice, guys. Now, I owned a Volvo for a while, and Volvos, like Germans, just know how to make cars. Like, that's the best way I could describe it. You feel so incredibly safe in these cars. They are so sturdy. The ride is so smooth. It's amazing. So, I test drive a couple cars, and I walk past this blue car, right? And it's a Q5, and I'm like, oh, is that the car that I inquired about? And my sales guy is like, no, but we can take a look at it. And I'm like, okay. I open up the car door. It is the same color as the car that I inquired about that was already sold. I open up the car door to see that it is the same exact interior as the car I initially inquired about. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So Tony gets in the car, I get in the car, the car salesman gets in the car. I just I just know it's my car. Like I'm sitting in this car, hands on steering wheel, and I'm like, oh my God, this is my car. This is my car. And it was just wild. It was just absolutely wild. Now, the reason why I wanted to share this with you guys was because it turns out that when I try to manifest something, it's always like, I want this or something better. It's never like set in stone because sometimes the universe surprises us and sometimes there's something better that's going to work out better. Okay. So when we get back from the test drive of this Q5, he pulls up all of the information and he pulled up all the information from the one I inquired about to this particular one. And I shit you not, this one, the one that I test drove, had more features, less miles, and it was a little less expensive. So it was a better deal than the one I initially wanted. So it was quite literally like the universe being like, here, I know you wanted this one, but this one's better. And it was just like the timing was right and it was just So divine, and I am just so obsessed with this car, guys. It is, again, it is such a good ride. I'm so happy with it. I love it. I am babying it. Her name is Gwen. She's a diva. She's very classy. And that is the story of my new Audi. Now with that, now with that being all said and done, we are going to dive in to astrology for my ambitious as fuck women and what your chart says about you and how you can use your chart to your advantage to create a amazing, magical, aligned work life, as well as harness your Mars energy correctly. Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to talk about today. First and foremost, if you don't already know your natal chart information, you're going to want to head on over to astroseek.com, or you want to download the Chani or the Nebula app. I like both of them. I have both of them. Chani is pretty good for the simple fact that the way it's laid out, you can just click something on the bottom where it shows you your chart. They are, yeah, so, but again, I like both of them. It depends on you and your monthly budget. With with that being said, when you are an entrepreneur, when you are a business owner, when you are a coach, when you are trying to launch something, whatever the case may be, I want you to look at a couple of things when it comes to your chart. First and foremost, we need to talk about your Mars, okay? Your Mars is how you take action. It is how you are ignited. It is how you are meant to move, really. And when you are able to really embody and work with your Mars sign, everything flows. Everything just works out so much better. Trust me on this. So, depending on what sign your Mars is in, as well as the house, is going to really dive in to how you're meant to take action. Okay. So, with that being said, I am an Aries Mars. I am an Aries Mars. What does that essentially mean for how I am meant to take action? Well, number one, Mars likes Aries, okay? It's its ruling planet. So this gives me a certain advantage when it comes to taking action and all of that good stuff. I always feel that it gives me a certain edge to the point where I am relentless. Like, I don't think you guys understand. I don't quit. I don't care if people think that I'm fucking nuts and I'm losing my mind. I will win just to spite you. That's just the way it is. Okay. That's me embracing my Mars Aries. Okay. Now, if you were to have a different Mars, say a Mars in Cancer, well, Mars doesn't really necessarily like to be in Cancer, okay? Mars is a very masculine energy, Cancer is a very feminine energy. So ultimately, you really need to, if you're a Mars Cancer, it's probably a very emotional experience when it comes to taking action, when it comes to launching things for you. Building a business is probably a highly emotional roller coaster for you because, again, Mars is in its detriment in the sign of Cancer. So it's you probably get stressed out pretty freaking easily, to be completely honest. Now, if you were an air sign Mars, let's talk about, like, I don't know, what if you were an Aquarius Mars, okay? You are going to have to move for the people. And what I mean by that is, like, your movement, the way you take action is to help people, is to inspire people, is to invigorate. Oh, my kid's running downstairs. People, okay? It's very much it's interesting because it's such an intellectual sign and Mars is such a physical energy. So it's always going to be associated with forward thinking, a lot of thinking if you're a Mars Aquarius, like you're going to think things to death, but also there's always going to be an air of humanitarianism. There's always going to be an air of like how you can serve the people. Okay? Now, let's talk. So, you have to figure out your Mars and how it works for you. Because a Mars Aries is totally different than a Mars Cancer. A Mars Leo is very different than a Mars Capricorn, okay? And depending on what house it sits in, your drive and your desire, where you want to go, what moves your needle is going to be different. My Mars in Aries is in my ninth house of higher education, philosophy, spirituality. It's the house of God, right? So I'm kind of exactly where I need to be, to be completely honest, because I'm always going to grow. I'm always going to be learning. I'm always going to be sharing everything that I experience in my life and the lessons that I've learned along the way. And that's my Mars and Aries in my ninth house. Now, if you have, say, Mars in the fourth house. Now, let's say if you have Mars in the 10th house, that's a good placement where you are so career driven. You will make moves for your career. Okay, so whether that's moving across the country, changing positions, changing companies, changing careers, you're always going to want to move based on your career and public image. So depending on what house it's in and what sign it's in, it varies, okay? I go very deep into this in my embodiment blueprint program. Now, let's talk about the sixth house. Okay, so we talked about your Mars. Now, let's talk about the sixth house. Your sixth house is the house of work and daily routines. Okay, so whatever zodiac sign is governing your sixth house and what's going on in your sixth house is going to tell me how you work, how you're meant to work, I should say. Now, someone who has a Capricorn ruled sixth house is going to work very different than a Pisces ruled sixth house. Someone who has Scorpio in their sixth house is going to do their work life balance very differently than a Gemini sixth house. Okay, so find out what is going on with your sixth house. Okay, and if there's any planets in there. Now, if there's any planets in there, that's going to give even more influence. If you have personal planets in there, if you have, larger, like, Pluto in there, Uranus in there, it really depends on what's going on, okay? And you have to work with what is there, okay? You have to create the life that looks like for you. And that's how your life is going to be absolutely amazing. Now, another thing that I want to talk about, because I know that I have a lot of entrepreneurs and coaches who listen to this podcast, I want to talk about transits. Okay, so transits is huge, especially when you are launching things, especially when you are sharing programs or new offers with the world, because the astrology can really make or break something, believe it or not. Now, here's a couple of key tricks that I have learned the hard way when it comes to tracking transits, working with transits in regards to building your business. So, number one, don't launch with your fourth, eighth, and 12th house. So, what do I mean by that? Whatever is governing your fourth house, your eighth house, and your 12th house, whatever signs those are. So, I'm a Leo rising. So, my fourth house is Scorpio, my eighth house is Pisces, and my 12th house is Cancer, all water signs. Okay. I really shouldn't be I shouldn't be launching during those seasons. Those are seasons that are really meant for me to rest, to go within, to digest. And I shouldn't be really doing anything around those moons as well. Because again, these are my personal times of going inward. These are my personal times of self reflection, of healing, of really going into my own personal cocoon. So, whatever's going on in your fourth, your eighth, and your 12th house, know that those are seasons of going inward. Okay. Now, when it comes to launching, okay, ideally, ideally, you want to go to astroseek.com. I think you need to go to transits, and you want to find out when Jupiter is trining your sun or sextiling your sun. And that's going to be the most ideal time for you to share something, to launch something that's going to have a massive impact, that's going to get to more people. So again, Jupiter trine sun or Jupiter sextile sun. And again, just head on over to astroseek.com, put in your information, and then figure out the transit, and you just type all of this in, and it will tell you the next time Jupiter is either trining your sun or sextiling your sun. And that's when you really want to launch something, share something, go all out on social media, post 10 times that day, whatever the case may be. Okay. Now, when the sun is in your 10th house, so whatever is governing your 10th house, okay, so that could be Aries, Taurus, whatever the case may be. Whenever it's that season, that's also a really good season for you to launch something. That's also a really good season for a rebrand. That's also a really good season of launching a podcast or a community or a freebie or something along those lines, because the sun is it illuminates, right? It's a luminary. It's going to, wherever the sun is, it's shining. So if it's in that season, that is a great time for you to utilize the collective energy and use it to your advantage, my dears. Okay. So those are some tips and tricks for you. I hope that you enjoy them. I'll have all of this information in the show notes as well, just so you have context. Be sure to come hang out with me on Instagram at Erica W. Russo. And thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you guys around the internet.